Remember to subscribe to our channel while you're here. Go over to activetradersetups.com and bookmark our website and learn more about our Active Trader Setups trading package, multiple day price advances, day trading and swing trading, 4 trade setups, 2 long and 2 short. That's all you got to learn. Thanks for being here. We're going to go ahead and get started. A few minutes late getting started here. Thought we had a few more people coming in. And we're going to cover the Active Trader Setups trading and charting package. I am recording this live, so I will have to pause along the way and save the increments of the video so we keep the audio in sync with the video. Active Trader Setups is a subsidiary of Day Trader Setups LLP, and we have several properties that all promote this charting package. First one we're going to look at here is AAP. We're going to talk about some of the features of the chart as we go, and then you can review any of this stuff right there on the website, and has more detailed information, little text information on each page. Here's the features of the chart. Each time that we're plotting across from this is our, first of all, we have a plot for uptrending or downtrending according to our algos. As they change color, it gives you an easy glance to realize that we're biased to the upside or biased to the downside. So that's one of the features, is just an at a glance type chart. This box stays on the chart at all times. I'll explain what that chart means. And this box comes and goes. This is the guts of our system. As this starts down, it puts on the chart is this right here. This is just for learning purposes. This can be hidden on your chart. But this is hidden on the chart, and it's the indicators, our active trend, shift, watch. It makes this box come and go off the chart. So when there's no lines angled down or up, then there's no watch box being displayed. As we approach every algo move, this is a 50 factor chart. We use factors 10, 25, 50, 100. And if you're trading real low ATR stocks, you may even use 5s. You match the algo to your, if you're day trading, if you're swing trading, and the ATR of your stocks. Most of your higher valued stocks, you can use a 25, 50, 100. Things like Tesla and some of the faster ATR stocks, you may even step out to a 200 to be looking at a swing trade, where you day trade really on a 50 on Tesla, but you'll day trade on AAP on a 25. You'll take a bounce watch on a 10 if you like to do reversal trades against the trend. And many traders do. Keeps you out of that first move up, because what happens is you get a move up and then you get a pullback and then you get a breakout. Just like this. It came down, it went back and retraced and headed down. Now, our indicators, as I told you, red and green. When the box appears, as this went down, a 2x trend shift short watch appeared on the chart. As it got closer to triggering, which is another factor down, another 50-cent move down, it changed to a 1x box, and that's when you had the green arrow join the yellow. When it's pointing down, it's plotting a trend shift trigger short watch. If it's pointing up, it's plotting a long watch like it is here now. As this stock progressed up here, when this first appeared 50 cents earlier than this peak, or actually it appeared at the peak, right here it predicted a 2x from right here going up. So that was another $1 up. It was giving you an indicator. This is important that you grasp what I'm telling you right here. As this was here, it was saying, hey, $1 away, we're going to trigger to turn this green on a long watch. As it pulled back, this is a 50-cent pullback. It then recalculated that even though we're 50 cents lower, now we only have to go 50 cents higher. Our long watch recalculated, the green box showed up, and we're at 116.79 now for the long trend. Now grasp what's going on here. When we were up here, we were telling you it's going to take 117.80 to trigger. As it pulled back, it recalculated. This is a projection indicator. We're looking forward from every step of the way. We actually look out 4 factors in each direction, and we're always calculating. Are we going to cause this red to become green and go into a long watch? So as we're constantly recalculating, where we originally had a long watch at $117.80 up here, because I got a 2x right here, it tells me that. Now I've only got a 1x, which means 50 more cents from where we are now, and that's going to be, it's actually more than 50 cents, but it's got the indicator at 116.79. It's actually a full dollar retracement back up. It's where it's giving the alert at. When that happens, this line will turn green exactly to the penny where it's projected at. If it doesn't happen and it goes down more, it will recalculate again. Every time we get a new plot on the chart, it recalculates. It's always projecting forward a full 4 factors in advance in both directions to tell us what's going to happen to our trend if that indeed happens. I need to save our recording real quick. So we're constantly projecting what it'll take to change this into a long watch stock into an uptrend. Now the number one thing to remember when looking at these trend shifts, and that's why we called it a trend shift trigger, long watch or short watch, you want to make sure you have a trend. We'll see some charts in a few minutes that are going sideways, just chopping along. They're going red, green, red, green, red, green because they're in the chop zone. You want to be able to look at the chart and say, hey, here's a trend, and I'm breaking the trend. Each time right here, if we go to a long trigger, we can see that we've got a defined trend. So we're going to break up and we're going to break out. Now, what happens when the trend takes place, when the shift takes place, when this triggers 116.80, if it happens here now, 116.79, it'll turn this line green, and at the exact same time it does that, it will plot on the chart a little line and that price that triggered it, and it'll also plot it triggered it, the long trigger, at the date and the time stamped, real time, exactly when it happens. This stays on the chart until it reverses. If it's a week, if it's a month, I have seen these back last year actually with big uptrends we were having in the market. I've seen some run for 3 months on a 50 or 100 algo chart. Never turn it back red. It stays there until it switches directions. This is here for you to study by. When you're going back through charts, you can see when they alerted the trend shift, if it's still active. You can also go back through the chart and you can see that it went from red to green, and you know that there was a trend shift line here at that time that triggered this long. Now what happens when we get a trend shift? The expected movement is what we try to teach you to expect. This had already been consolidating here, and if we can get this indicator, is our power momentum indicator. It works in both directions. If we get that crossover in sync with a shift from, like you have these 2 yellow ones here, just like we got right here, when this switches gears and triggers this price, what we prefer is to get both of these at the exact same time to switch, just like this did, and go to 2 blue ones. We've got momentum in the direction of the trade. Right here, that happened when this triggered. Many times, depending on the time of day, you're going to get retracements. You have to be prepared for that. This is not a charting system that comes in and says, here's your entry and it'll never stop you out. That's not what stocks do. They move. That's why you're looking for some other means of evaluating your trades. And the bigger the factor, the bigger the move. You can be on a dime and you may get a 5-factor retracement, which would be 50 cents. In this case, it's a 50 factor. So 5 factors would be $2.50. That can happen on this type chart. In the case where this broke out long, our second indicator that was strong prior to the breakout, actually at the end of the previous day, and it carried over the next morning, is our force indicator. We like to have this in our favor. It's not required, but if you're watching something midday and you're wanting to get in it, I like to get that back in my favor to give me some strength if I can step in at that time. Now, what this did, when it broke, it went up, looks like about, let's say around 120, all the way up to 126. That's a $6 move. That don't mean this didn't chop around. You've got candle style charts to help you work your stops and so forth if you want to capture some of the gains if it tries to pull back on you. If you're swing trading, you want to stay with this system. What it takes for this 50 algo chart to make any movement back down is a full minimum of 2 factors. That's $1. If you're on a 25 factor chart, that's 50 cents. So when this stock was moving up right here, when it turned back, it moved a minimum of $1 pullback. Got a few late comers. Thanks for joining us. Please realize you missed all disclaimers. If the camera did pop back up in your on your screen there, just let me know by typing in the room there. So what I'm trying to teach you is this could have movement involved, of course, just like any other chart. It didn't reverse $1 enough to show up on our algorithm. Our algorithms were measuring the trend. Now, this could actually reverse more than $1 before it actually printed on this chart, depending on how much further it went. Like on this peak, it could have went up another 10 or 15 cents and then headed back down, and it would be $1 from the plot plus the difference in the cents that it went up. But the main thing this is for is to time your trades and realize what trend you're in. Now, this was at 9:45 in the morning. Well, we know stocks like to chop around early. This peak was about 15 after 10. You can see the time right here on the chart. This all took place in one day. This entire movement from right here, it ran up that fast in 3 or 4 minutes. So basically this stock probably gapped up this far and then ripped another $3 or $4, and you can't even trade that. That's when you see those big spiky candles on your charts. So you're watching your standard charts while you're watching this charting system. So this spike's way up here and it's pulled back at 9:42. It's right here. Just let them settle in. You don't have to trade this. This is what you want. You want the next move down. This is an $8 move, and it's predictable on up in the middle of the day. I sit many times when I'm day trading and don't even take a trade after 10 o'clock. I'll let the charts tell me. I don't have to take one early. I will find huge trades later in the day with a much less risk. You're coin tossing when you get involved in these stocks that you go back and see huge 10-minute candles with big wicks on them and so forth. That's why you see them there, is because they're not predictable. This stock started back down, and when it got right here, if it didn't bounce and head on up, it's probably going to be going into a downtrend. What we do teach is when you come down below the line, if you're over 3 factors when you trigger this price, the price of the line's right on the chart. You can see it at the time. It's over here just like it is now. It's telling you the value of the trend shift pivot zone plot. That's what we call this line. A pivot is a reversal. So it's telling you the value, and if you're down over 3 factors, you're on a 50 factor chart, it's $1.50, expect a revisit. My very favorite trade is to come down here. It can stay red, it can go back to the red or the green, and then come back down and shift back to red. That's my favorite trade. If I've already came down and I go back, I may short it way up here. If it's already turned green and it goes all the way back to the red, and you'll be surprised how many times you'll study your charts and you'll see that it went exactly there, just like it's doing here. It's gone up above the red line. We know it's either going to go forward and turn it green and then come back, or it's going to visit it first. This pulls back to here. I love this setup now because it did what I expected it to do. It's gone up from down here 113.50 to 117 range. That's about $3.50. We're on a 50 algo chart, so that's 7 factor move. Charts will move 4 to 10 factors and then they will pull back. Usually you get your break and you'll get about a 10 factor move, then you'll get a 4 to 6 factor pullback. So if this goes up and pulls back here, and you can see when it first pulled back here, there's no little green line or yellow line, so this box wasn't here, so it wasn't even giving you a prediction that if it dropped, it'll have to be within 2x trend shift, so it wasn't even giving you a prediction right here that if it dropped another dollar, it was going to turn this red. So that's still a very strong state for this stock. You like to see them pull back here, not give a prediction, no display on this box. Won't even be here at that time. The box is only visible when you see these here. So when you're studying your charts and you don't see any angles indicating up or down, box was here on the charts. All this means. So here, if this had reversed, it headed back up and picked back up this strength that it had. It done lost it. It's way down here now. So it needs to pick back up some strength. It don't have to go back to green, but it needs to pick back up some strength. And you look at your shorter time frame charts, of course, to figure that out. Maybe you pull back here to yesterday's high or something. Maybe you have an inflection point. We'll teach more about those as we go along. So this could actually reverse. This is the minimum amount to trigger even looking at it. Now when this is pulled back to here, this lowest value plotted is what this current means. That's the last plot we put in. The stock could have gone down another 20 or 30 cents. It didn't go down a full factor value, or it would have plotted lower and changed this value. What's on this chart at all times is the current value of the last plot you're looking at and the required value to go the other direction. The plot will not change until this value comes in. Or if it continues down, what the next value will be in the continuation move. So right now, 115.79 is the last plot. For it to head back up, it's going to take 116.80, and we got a trigger right here at 116.79. So if it heads back up, gets back to where it was, it's going to turn this green. Now look what we had right down here. We had strength in this run-up. I like to see this setup with the strength in the run-up, because then I got a more favorable trade that when I reverse right here, that I'm going to head on up and break on out for a multi-factor move. Now this is pretty late in the afternoon. I took the snapshot at 1:30. If this reverses and it's early enough in the day, and that don't mean 1:30 is not early enough, you can get between a 6 and a 10 factor move. It may carry over to tomorrow. Well, 6 factors is $3. We're on a 50 algo chart. I tried to make it easy when we designed these. The 50 is pennies. The 25 is pennies. So you know what it's talking about. You can look and know on your own. The next part of the chart that this is used for, when you get these reversals, I really like, we call a retracement. If we've got a red line like we have here, then it's a red zone retracement. That's what RZR stands for, red zone retracement. We're in a downtrend, we've retraced. The number here is the value required to turn this back down for a confirmation we want to resume the prevailing trend. You don't want to do it before then. Now, I do not like the stock on this chart when it gets out above that line. I really want it to go right to the line and stop and hold, or go near the line and hold and head on back down. Sometimes when you get above it, it'll pull back to it and then it'll head on up. And you can see right here we had our green box. So it was saying one more algo value up and we're going back green, we're heading on up. Just like we have right here. So I prefer it stay below the line. And if I happen to be running into something like the morning low, the open price, that could be an inflection point. It could even be VWAP. You can be running back up and you're looking for the rejection and you see the VWAP line, and we've got charts for that too, that you can see all that coming together at the same time. The next part, remember that if you're green zone and you get a pullback and it heads up, it's going to give you the value. So right here, when this was coming down, it gave you the value required to get any print back up, and it did actually print whatever value was in that box at that time. Now when we break down here and we're chopping around, it's still early in the morning, it goes back and revisits. As I said, I'd rather it not take this line out and head back down. I want to honor this trend, but I don't want to get caught in a trap. So we've got our box here. You know what that does for you. We've got our ever-changing box indicator here that tells you when the box is here, gives you the prices when they're in play. When they're not in play, there's no box. If there's a 2 and a 1X like you see here, the 2 will generally be faded out and the 1 is the indicator. It just means both of these are up at the same time, because of course you'll be within a 2X when you're within a 1X. Now if you happen to see a chart where they're both bright, the 1 prevails. Occasionally you'll see one that both are lit in white rather than faded out. So we've got this indicator, our color coordinated indicator. Our force indicator is green when it's strong, it's red when the stock is weak, and it's you love to catch these at the right time. You can actually scan for this alone. You can run watch list and it'll tell you the values if this is in the strong zone or the weak zone. You can actually scan for this kind of breakout. You can scan for this breakout. A lot of you have watched our videos in the past talking about the bear zone and the bull zone. This is part of the bear and bull zone breakout for momentum, even on a 10 or a 15 or a 30-minute chart. That's all included in this charting package as well. I've had many guys ask me through the years, doing the bull zone and bear zone breaks, I wish I could scan for that myself. So we built that in this package. If you're one of those guys, hey, I love those breaks on those 10, 15, 30-minute charts, even on the daily and the weeklies. If you're just interested in the daily and the weeklies, you can use Ninja with free end-of-day data, and you can scan the daily and the weekly bear and bull zone breaks without even paying for a data plan. You can set up this package. You can still you can't refer to these charts unless you got real-time data and tick data. But if you can take the free end today, use your normal candle charts, and you can run those bull and bear zone scans and have no data plan cost at all. So basically you just got your monthly subscription once you get everything set up. I've got to save the video again. I have to turn the camera off every time I do that. Thanks for your patience. We're going to move on to our next chart. This is just a chart I use to check catch momentum on the daily, and this is set on 1,000 algo, and this is telling me the market kind of the breadth, and this actually works when you get these breakouts. If I'm sitting here watching for day trading, it won't help you on swing trading. If you're watching for day trading and you get this breakout, you get a momentum break in the market and lots of stocks start going up. So if you've already been building you a list of stocks to trade, I've got this on a long watch. That's what I spend my time doing. I keep building my list. I'm checking my charts. I'm watching for the setups when they're trying to switch over from red to green. They're trying to break out. They've done a retracement setup, and then I get the market break with me. That's when I usually jump in 2 or 3 trades, make my money, and sit and wait on the next trip. And if you're trading the right stocks, you can get multi-dollar moves when you can get the market with you. This is not going to be a very big one, so I'm going to not spend a lot of time on this because I know you can't see it very well. This is a before and after picture, I believe, of where the stock has ran up. You can see that the price was on the chart where it broke out to the upside. You can see the little retracement you had there. It's a 50 algo chart, so that's a minimum of $1 pullback, maybe a little more. It did have the box on the chart, but it still turned and reversed. We used this number as our green zone retracement to be the trigger to go back long, and then you got a multi-algo run there. We also picked up our strength once we broke back up here, probably $2 from this low. Now, if this had been pulling back to the morning open or the VWAP or yesterday's high, an inflection point, you could take this early because you know the trade's already in your favor. Now, here's something I was teaching you a moment ago. You get the algo plot down below your green rising line. It's going back to visit. It did. So that means it was headed down, it reversed, went back $1, now shorted. If you want to get in early, you expect the retracement, and if you get it and it starts back down using your other type charts, maybe using a 10 factor or a 25 factor, that you've got this setup that I'm not going to get long because the 25 said get long. I'm going to honor the bigger trend, and I'm looking for this to fail and go short. Now, when it gets up here, it's constantly got this box in the corner. The box was here, telling you the trigger price, 157.18. You can see that as soon as it triggered, it plotted it, and it put the time and the price right on your chart. Now, one thing I didn't show you earlier, this particular indicator that puts this on the chart for you to study by and plots this as well as puts our logo and all on here, you can go into this once you're using the product, and you can take the text out of this. You can tell it don't show me, or you can put your own words in here. If you're a Forex trader, maybe you want to put your Forex symbol in here. You can type into this box. These are editable, and you can put whatever you want on the chart. You can label the chart as your 50 algo chart, but it's only going to be present or in position with where it changes at. So it would be over here rather than over here like it is now. The plot you cannot take off. It will always be there. You can turn this off, this off, this off. You cannot edit this or this, but you can edit these two and customize the chart to your own liking. Now what happened right here is it headed down, it went back and revisited, it came back and triggered just like we predicted, as well as, remember I showed you a moment ago, you've got the downside momentum strength with you, and so when it did break, it came right back in with it. And what did we get? We got a shift from 2 yellows, we got the X right there, and the 2 blue ones to indicate we're going to get some momentum here. Now this is late day. If you want this momentum to come in, that don't mean it can't drop $1 at the end of the day. It certainly can, and you could have took it right up here and had probably $1.50 down to here at that time. This is a setup. It was a good trade. You could have traded early, especially depending on where it was rejecting at. If it was an inflection point, maybe it was VWAP. If it's earlier in the day, you got a higher probability of course, getting a follow through, depending on the time of day. Going to move forward to our next chart. Similar item, went down, triggered, gave a retracement against a 50 algo chart, headed back down, and it started into this retracement, picked up the momentum. Now in this case, you got the X at the time it started down. As it maneuvered itself around, you got the 2 blue ones come back in somewhere right along in here, indicating momentum again picked up in your direction. And the direction, of course, you got the red here in your favor. This is an ES chart just to show you that it can be used on ES. This is, I do it on several factors. 50 is my longest factor, 25, and this is not 50 cents and 25 cents in this case. As this heads down, it gives you the prediction. Now this is not a real big uptrend. This is more intraday levels, and as the stock bounced here, can it get through? It had strength. It might get through, or it may reject. You'd be amazed when you're watching this chart how many times this will go to the level and the market will turn back up. When you can take the ES, and you don't have to pay for real time on the ES. This is actually 15 minutes in arrears sometimes on the way I use it. But I know where the level is I'm expecting it to reject, and you'll be absolutely amazed how many times it does reject this level, and you can look at your SPY and tie in what the SPY is doing at the same time this is going on. You can also use our system to trade the futures. But you can use the futures and along with that add thing I showed you, and you can figure out what the market's doing if you're day trading and decide if you want to be long or short biased. Here's a Netflix chart. We got the breakdown. We got the multi-factor move. This is when you want to take this trade. This is at about 10:55 in the morning. So we've already had the choppiness going on during the day. It gave you the value on the chart where it was going to turn red. You had the momentum to the downside, and the yellow turned to the 2 blues at the same exact time. You got a momentum break. This is not at 9:30 in the morning or 9:45. This is at 11 a.m. This is what I'm talking about, letting the chart settle in. Now this moved very rapidly. When it went down, it went all of this action in about 4 minutes. Now that could have been some crazy action in the market as well. It turned back up. This is a 25 algo. This is not a 50. Netflix is a chart that you want to trade the 50s and the bigger trends, but you want to use the 25 to guide you in day trades. So I can see this happening ahead of time, especially if I'm in a 50 uptrend and this is nothing but a pullback. I can take that pullback and I'm expecting to bounce because I'm looking at the 50 algo and I'm in an uptrend. I'll take this chart, I'll plan my entry and catch this run here. This is a $3 run once it broke. You had your momentum. As it shifted, it came in here. Don't take it early because it may go here and come back. That's going to be maybe 4 to, what did I say, 3 to 5 factors back down. So on 25 cents, $1.25 pullback. So if you got that pullback, that would be a perfect entry, and you come right back in and take the trade, take off in the trade. But you got this kind of fast movement, you want to be looking at the next trend size up, or algo factor chart up, to see what the bigger trend is. This was more of an intraday setup. Okay, here's your chop chart. Sideways, sideways, sideways. Don't trade this, because this is called the trend shift pivot zone. There's no trend. It's chop. If you can't visibly look at the chart and see an upward momentum like this, where you could draw a trend line and it's a significant trend, you're going to shift. Don't take the trade. Now this took off. This is late afternoon. The day changed right here. The next morning it went up, and it went up pretty quick. This is about 10 o'clock, 10:30 up here. Here's your classic pullback. That was from somewhere in the 351.50 area. Pull all the way back to 348.50. That's about 6 factors. That's what we teach, a big run, 4 to 6 factor pullback. That's $3. This is exactly what we want to happen right here. This is a retracement. You pull back. You got no display box over here because you got no arrows, so there was no box there at the time, even predicting if it dropped another 2 factors, which would have been another $1, that it would have turned this red. So you know it's going to take more than that to turn this red. So you can expect to bounce here. You got a higher probability of a retracement reversal here without this box. So you pull back, you get your reversal. It's on the chart where to take it at. That's going to be a full minimum of $1 back up to get involved in the trade. When it turned back up, that would have been around 349.25. You got you a $2 to $3 move here. You can take this early again if you have a reason to. Maybe it's bouncing off the VWAP. Maybe it's bouncing off an earlier low, like right here from earlier in the morning. It tried to pull back and it held. It goes up. This could be an old high from not obviously back in these 2 or 3 days, but it could have been a week ago. And you broke out above an old high level. It pulls back, holds that level. Old resistance, new support. Here's exactly what I've been telling you. You got the breakout. This was chop, chop, chop. We don't want the chop, chop trade because we're not sure what's going on. This was a late afternoon when this came into be here. The next day, it continued on up, probably gapped up. This is 9:35. It's way up here at 10:30. Here's your reversal setup. You don't have to take, I don't want to take the short here. You can do what you want to. I don't want to take the short here. I want to trade with the trend. I don't know how far back it's coming. It may only come back $1 and head back up again. But if I get the full retracement that I'm expecting, and again, we've had a multi-factor move here from around 225 to 227, almost 227. So that's about 8 factors. We're on a 25 algo chart. We're expecting a pullback, 4 to 6 factors. We were just under 227. We pulled back right into 225.50. That's about $1.60 or 70 cents. What is that? That's a 6 factor, 5 to 6 factor pullback. What you expect. You can take a Fibonacci tool and draw a line, and you'll see your retracements. If you're a Fibonacci person, that's what stocks do. They go up, they pull back. They go up, they pull back. I just want to know, do I want to be long biased or short biased? And I know I want to be long biased because I've got my setup here. My trend says me I want to be long. I want to trade with the trend because I'm not sure how much. This could be super choppy. It could take this 12 minutes to come down here. It could take it 3 days, depending on the chart you're looking at. It pulls back, gives the retracement. This is a great time of day to be trading. This is about probably before 10:30. It pulls back here, gives a reversal, and goes up the predicted. This is almost 8 factors right here, and that's just when we made the picture. An hour later, you had a $2 move. Got to save the video again. Thank you for your patience. That allows other people to watch these later. Here's another retracement in the other direction. Stock trading down. A nice big strong move down. Had the strength in the chart right here. It's heading down. It's heading down fast. It triggers. It continues on down. This is a multi-dollar move, and then it did what? It retraced. It retraced from about 143.50 to right in this area here. Looks like about 146. That's $2.50. It's a 50 factor chart. What we got? 5 to 6 factors. That's what they do. Reverses. Does not have the long trigger box on the chart. You can look up, find the exact price, red zone retracement. Here's your red zone. You've retraced. What it's going to take to trigger this back down. It's going to be $1 minimum on a 50 factor chart, be 50-cent minimum on a 25 factor chart. Or if you have bounced into maybe yesterday's low or the yesterday's close or something like that, or even VWAP, a inflection point, you can take that trade early. If you're day trading, if you're swing trading, I want to wait and get the confirmation, and that's what this is. This is our inflection point chart. It takes the 25 algo, lays it over the chart. The 5 minute don't mean anything. I have to set it on a 5 minute to have it run the highs and lows of the last few days and plot the VWAP properly. That's what this orange line is, the VWAP. We have at the bottom, actually running on the 5 minute, the breakout that could be a momentum break off the 5 minute chart, and then we have inflection areas that are explained on the website what these are. This was yesterday's low, the smaller pink line. This was where you could see the algo plot coming down. It went a little lower in the normal charts and plotted the low. Here's the low. The low is 246.71. So when we switch days, this shifts itself up, starts calculating the low of the day. So this stock gapped up. It did come back down and have a low a day here at some point. This is a 25 algo plot running with a 25 algo red and green line right overlaid on this chart. At the bottom we have the next factor up's a 50, just so you got a quick reference point to what that trend is doing. We plot the open price in bright blue, baby blue up here. This was today's open. This was today's open on the day before. And then the lighter blue takes yesterday's open and puts it on the chart, so you got a reference point to it. These are inflection points. This is yesterday's close, right on the chart for you, inflection point. This was yesterday's high. It shifts down. Excuse me, this is yesterday's high, the light green. The dark green's the day before's high. See the dark green here was yet that day's high. And when the day changed, it gave you a new plot so you can reference yesterday's high. And out in the column, it tells you that value. So this was yesterday's high. It shifts over, and there it is for you. So you got the open, yesterday's high. Today's high is the current the darker green line. The lighter pink is today's low. The darker pink is yesterday's low. You got all these inflection points, and you got VWAP right on your chart. You need to be looking at this before you take any trades. As you're looking at your setups, refer to this chart as well. And we have a legend on all these lines right over on the website. You can see that breakdown for you. And we'll give you a review of that right at the end. This is just another chart. You can see the big breakdown, the retracement, the continuation trade. This ran multi-days. This is a 50 factor chart. This is not a high ATR stock, so this is multi-days. All these little lines are days. So you can see it spent a whole day here, a whole day here, a whole day here. So this is a swing trade chart for this stock. You would want to day trade ALK. You're not going to get big moves because it's not a high ATR stock, but you'd want to day trade it on a smaller factor using 10s and 25s to time your trades. This is a swing trade chart. It gave a short alert right about here. It retraced. This is my favorite setup for my swing trades, is to get the sell-off on a 50 chart, get the retracement, and then be looking for getting short or maybe buying an option or a put, and then get multi-day runs. This stock ran for almost 3 weeks, and that's what I was telling you at the beginning when we started talking. Sometimes they'll run for 2 or 3 days depending on the ATR of the stock. Now this stock crossed over and went way up here before it predicted or plotted the crossover. That's more than 3 factors. So we're predicting, don't take the trade up here. Now you might be trading on a 25 on a bounce right here and right here earlier, but we're telling you let it pull back, and when it pulls back and runs into this green line, then take your long or see if it's going to fail and go down. If it's over 3 factors above this line, this is around $59 and this is all up here 61.66, 50 factor chart. So that's $2.50 or greater. That's 5 factors you want to wait on and expect to pull back, not chase this. Again, this is another look at a inflection point chart, and we actually put those 2 BDX charts over on the website together for you. That pullback that BDX had on that chart that went right down to the retracement alert and then headed back up, this is a prime example when I've been telling you you can take them early if there's a reason to. This is yesterday's high. When this stock pulled back over $2, it held the uptrend line and it ran into this inflection point of 225.37. You can go back and find this particular day on the 21st on a 10-minute chart or 30-minute chart or whatever, and you'll see that the low actually was only 3 cents below this. Old resistance, new support. That's an inflection point. If you want to wait on a uptrend to trigger here and take it off this, that's 50 cents. It's going to plot back up and give you a confirmation to get back in this stock. Or if you want to take it early with a super tight stop and you feel like, hey, I think this is going to go on, and this is the day before's high back here that's plotted across here, you got that you can reference. You can say, what was that high? I'm going to look here. Hey, if this takes out 2 days ago high, I'm getting back in this stock a little early. This is Tesla side by side. Much bigger factor charts have to be used. This is the 50 factor setting up middle of the day or late day. And you can see all this chop that was going on. That's why a 25 factor chart is no use to you on a stock with this kind of ATR. This is a day trading level on a 50 factor on Tesla because it's such a big mover. I day trade this stock a lot. I'll trade it. I'll wait on the 50. I may time it with the 25 as far as pulling back, chopping around, and taking my position. And you can get $3 and $4 and $5 moves out of this stock. Right here's a 25 factor from 284 all the way down to 279. Happens all the time. This is a chart you need to refer to. You need 2 factor charts that you're looking at. Then you need your inflection point chart. Of course, you got to have a standard chart that you want to time your entries in, whether it be a 30-minute chart you trade on if you're swing trading, or it be a 5-minute or 3-minute chart if you're day trading. This gives you a look at all trends together. The smallest line is the 25, which is a very minimal for a stock like this. The medium line is the 50 factor, and the bigger thickness is the 100 factor. The little dotted lines are just extended out because the 100 factor doesn't move until it moves another 100 cents or $1. So we want you to have this plot available because that could last for days on some stocks. You can look right at the top of the chart. It tells you we got a 25 algo, a 50 algo, and a 100 algo. We got the trend shift pivot zone for the 25, the 50, and the 100. That is the line. That is the green and red line. It's called the trend shift pivot zone. We've got the data flowing in here on all algos so that we can plot these. And then at the bottom, we're plotting the force chart so that you can see I'm in the 50 is strong in my favor. And this is our 50 line right here. This is strong. It wants to go up. It's got strength that just came into it. So you want to stay long biased. You don't want to go against the 50. And at the end of the day, the 50 is still strong. So it's a great way to build a watch list. The next morning, this stock takes off. The 25 comes back in, makes a huge move. The 100 comes in super strong on its strength. It maintains it all day. So this pullback, that pullback from 250, 350 to 251, that was a full $2 move back. Didn't even affect the 100. The 100 still said we're strong. So you want to wait on your first reversals and get back involved in this trade. And it gave another $2 move from 10 o'clock in the morning to 10:30. This was just a snapshot in the middle of the day. Baba. This is a 200 factor $2 chart. This is a swing trading chart for this stock. And you can see that it wasn't very pretty. This is days and days and days and days and days here now. And then it broke out, gave you your pullback. That's why I say on my swing trades, I like to get the retracement. I got my retracement. I've had a little momentum. It came right back in when it turned back up. And it broke out and ran from here to there was $20. This is a very short term for Netflix because it's a high flyer. You want to use this as a minimum as a guide on a stock like that. But I want to wait. All this chopping around, I want to use my triggers. I want to have everything in my favor when I come into this trade. Again, another inflection point chart showing you yesterday's low here. It comes down, tests it, bounces, goes to the close, fails, comes down, tests yesterday's low again, tested this morning low, headed back up again. Next day, hit 2 day ago low, which was this right here, bounced, headed back up. Where'd it go? Went to VWAP. That's that orange line, rejected VWAP, came back up, got through the VWAP, got through the close, went up. What did it do? Pulled back to the close, held again. This is a great chart just to show you how inflection points work intraday. It's Caterpillar. Several little zigzags it was making during the day on the sell down. First time it went back and hit the red falling line. Got a retracement. This is just a 25 algo plot here. Got a retracement. Went back to yesterday's open. That's the blue line. And the red falling line in our downtrend on our 25 factor, rejected there. The next time it went back, hit the VWAP, rejected, and hit VWAP again and rejected as it continued down. So you don't go long, you go with a trend, and every time it gives you a chance, if you're day trading, you're scalping, you want to take the inflection point and stay with the bigger trend. You can trade it off the bottoms if you want to. That's your business, and you can use the smaller factors, the 10, to time your trades and do what you want to. You're not tied to any watch list. You can scan any watch list you choose to scan any price range stocks. We just got to teach you what algos you need to use for your ATR. Again, it's the NVIDIA, another high moving stock. This is a 50 factor. This is just all in one day. Goes up, maintains, goes again. It keeps with the trend. And then when it rolled over here, this is a 25 factor. I'm not even sure if it's on the same day. I'm just trying to show you how you get the trend shift and you're coming back down. Breaks the trend and you want to stay with the trend. This is a multi-dollar move again, and you've got the strong in your favor. This is a 25. You got the strength in your favor, so favoring to continue down, so that gives you a good strong move here. This is a pretty big move. This is about $4 when this started selling. It broke this line with the strength and sold off pretty heavily. And this was when it got to right here was 11:41 a.m. I really had this in here to show you the force factor. Netflix on a 200, again like I showed you on Baba, chop for days and days and days. Did a breakout here. Of course, it was showing breakouts back here too. Like I tell you, this is really not what I want to take because of the sideways movement. It does have the strength here. It didn't have it back here. All these other chopping around it was doing, you got no force in your favor. Here you had the force, and we got a really nice break there for about $15 over a couple day period. And then it continued sideways. It honored the levels when it came into here and continued on up and broke again for another $20 in 2 days. This is a 200 factor chart that said go long on Netflix on May 4th. It hadn't changed its mind yet. Got to save the video. This is NVIDIA 200 algo chart, again a big swing trade chart. Multiple days. It came down here on April the 20th, broke our trend line, revisited the line, and big factor chart now. This stock went from 230 to 210 from this period of time around, looks like April 23rd all the way down 25th. That was in 2 days. Then it bounced. And when it bounced, it went up above the line. We teach, look for the retracement. It pulls back, and then you got this huge break over a multi-day period of time from $220 to $260. Now, I'm sure you probably had some influence of something like earnings going on here or a huge market bounce. Then it chopped around again, and it's really in a downtrending mode when I made this picture. And it kept rejecting. It did finally break back above and break out again. That's the big charts I want to show you. I'm going to switch the camera off and back on and show you the website. We're back on the website. It goes over everything I've been showing you here on these charts. You can get it from education and training. You'll find this same menu there, or you can come over to products and go to charting and trading. It'll bring you in here, and you can walk right through each of these pages that gives you details about what you're seeing on the chart. Not a lot of text to read. It refers and explains these charts to you again that I've been showing you in the video. Talks about the inflection points. This is a longer term support resistance. You can run it on a 10-minute. You can run it on a hourly, on a daily. Just like down here, this is on an hourly chart. Shows you old highs, old lows. These are 1 hour normal candles. How you go and retest lows and bounce. You can put this on a daily. These plots work on all time frames, normal charts. You can switch them anywhere you want to. You can go out on a weekly chart. You can be involved in a trade, the stock is selling off, and you're like, where's it going to stop at? And you can switch this from a 60-minute to a daily to a weekly, and you'll find new lines plotted based on those calculations. And these are to the penny places these stocks bounced or rejected in the past. That's part of the charting package as well. The features page goes into more details about what we've been talking about, these movements and so forth. It talks about how these work, your display pricings. It talks about each of the indicators, what they mean. It shows you can hide this, and then this is an actual where you can have the chart set up with see both indicators or overlay them to save space. You can also run a scan off of either one of these independently, an alert system. We have an end of day set of scanners that goes in and looks at the one day compared to the other. If you're swing trading, you want to know that a stock on a swing trade type algo, in this case these are set up on 50s and 100s, if it was red the day before and it's green at the end of the day, it'll put yes in your columns as you load your symbols in. And what you can do if you're on a 100 symbol limit on your data plan, after hours, if you try to pull up a chart in the middle of the day that you've never looked at before, it's only going to go back 8 days of tick data. If you load that chart pre-market or after 4:30 in the evening, it will load 180 days if it needs to print to get your charts. And then tomorrow, if you pull it up in the middle of the day, it's got the tick data, or you pull it up 4 days later, because when you pull it up in the middle of the day, it'll go back 8 days. So on the weekends, you can load in lots of charts, 100 symbols at a time, and have it load all that tick data into your history. And then if you want to go back and refer to that chart 4 days later, intraday it'll let you look back 8 days for tick data, so you'll have a proper chart. But these will go after hours. It'll go back after 4:30 in the evening or before 9:30 in the morning. It'll go back as many days as you need to go to plot your chart and to find out the answers to the questions we're trying to plot here. So at night you can have symbol lists broke down into increments of 100 symbols. Every time you connect to the platform, you can load 100 symbols. So you load your 100 symbols, you load it into this report into the day to find out what swapped from a 50-day, from being red, not 50-day, 50 algo chart, having the green line switch to a red line or vice versa. If it's green switch to red, it'll say yes right here. If it's red switch to green, it'll say yes right here. This is a 50 and a 100. You can set these up on any algo you want as well. Now, you load your 100 symbols in. You see what you want to know. You remove the symbols from the list. That's very easy to do. You just click the symbol, hold the delete key down, it'll take those 100 symbols out. You don't want to have this link right here linked to any charts while you're doing that, because it slows the process down. If you'll unlink from here, because you want this linked when you're clicking on your symbols and loading charts, when you get through, just real quick, unlink, click your top symbol, hit your delete key, it'll zip those 100 out of there. Now, then you disconnect. You do not want to save your scanner package, because you want to keep what you had before you open it in the first place. You didn't make any changes. You open it right back up, you reconnect, now you have no symbols in, you load your next 100 symbols in. Now you can look at reports on another 100. Now if you want to run the bull and bear zone scanners on the daily and weekly charts, you can get free end-of-day data connection, and you can come in and run those alerts and crossovers and bull zone breaks and bear zone breaks on the weekly and daily and monthly charts. You can do that on end-of-day data, and you can have as many symbols as you want to. There's no symbol limit because you're on the free plan there. There's other reports that you can pull up. This breaks down the 25 force factor and gives you if you're in a downtrend or an uptrend on the, according to the line, the red and green line. That's a trend shift pivot zone trend. Is it uptrending or downtrending? This particular one will load the symbols in, give you the strength of them. They're downtrending, they're uptrending. Here's a week 50 force in an uptrending stock. What can that tell me at the end of the day? That can tell me that maybe I'm down below the green rising line. Tomorrow morning I'll run back up, hit it from the bottom side, and got a great short setup. Or it could be a retracement alert. So you could find the chart like this. It's pulled back, it's weak, it's probably maybe below the line. The next morning it goes and hits the line, reverses for a short. Or you may find the stock, it's weak, but it's uptrending. It's a pullback retracement alert setup. So that's why you can take and use this report to go find a stock that's weak in an uptrend. It's either retracing and ready to bounce, or it's below the line and it may be ready to flip it to a short. It's already weak and in a downtrend on the 25 factor. You can also use that to find the same retracements as well. or you've got downtrending, you're strong but you're downtrending, you're finding a retracement to go back short, and you're uptrending on the 25. So this can be used for a lot of things. We teach more of that about that in our other classes. This talks about the candles, all the pre-built scanners that are on your charts. This is actually a bull zone chart down here. It's on a 10-minute. Shows the bull zone level, what we consider a bull or a bear zone break. It shows the power alert builder. We want to go with those breakouts of those consolidations. You get these big moves, and you can put this on a daily chart. It works exactly the same. This is a 10-minute again, breaking into the bull zone. It had picked up the momentum prior to breaking out. You can run these scans on 10 minutes. You can run these scans on 10 minute with a 50 all go uptrend if you want to. You can run them on dailies, and we've already got these pre-built for you on 10s, 15s, 30s, dailies, weeklies. All you have to do is open up your chart. Don't even have to open the chart actually. Run your trends, load your symbols into your alert packages, and it'll run your alerts out for you at the end of the day if you're doing the dailies and the weeklies and so forth. We talked about the chart overlays already and the support and the resistance. We'll move on to the next line. Number 3, we've already reviewed this as well. This is what's on these proprietary charts. We talked about those in details. This gives you a review of everything we went over, what's on those charts. It goes down and tells you about the projections, how they can, in this case, was projecting along and never went and failed. And it shows you how the prices changed. First it was a long watch at 166.24, then it was a long watch at 165.99, and then it ended up being a long watch at 165.24. So it dropped a whole dollar. By our projection system is projecting if we go up or we go down, what's going to happen to this trend shift indicator. What's it going to take to turn it green? So as it kept plotting all these little momentum or movements here through this time period that went past, it was constantly changing this. It said, okay, we got a long watch at 166.24, then it said 165.99. As it got a little further over, after it pulled back, it gave you a 165.24. Still had a 165.24. This is an example of the 2X and the 1X, both bright. You go with a 1. And what ended up happening on this stock? Nothing. It never triggered. It failed and continued on down. So it explains that in detail. Talks more about the retracement alerts here, what the indicator is used for. Again, here gives you details on what we talked about as I've been going along here. Shows the BDX here on this retracement. I told you it went back to the inflection chart. It went right down to the old high and bounced. So that's where you can tie the inflection chart with your retracement package, and you're honoring this line, and you look on this inflection chart and you find an early entry. Same thing down here, talks more about that. You go on over to number 4. It talks about the scanners and how they're set up, and we just spent a little bit of time talking about that. It gives you more details on that and reviews that, your bull and bear zones as well. The end of the day we talked about a minute ago, and then you can go over on how to read the charts. Talks about the trend shift and how you can interact between the two charts. Compare side-by-side charts with the bouncing off the VWAPs. I talked about that when we were talking about Caterpillar earlier. It gives you a lot of details on how everything works, kind of reviews what I've been going over, and you can look at this as often as you like. It's right on the website. Talks about the retracement alerts. Gives you the legend I was telling you, what the inflection lines mean. Breaks all that down so you can go back and refer to this while you're using the package and studying the plan. All that's right on here. Remember to subscribe to our channel while you're here. Go over to activetradersetups.com and bookmark our website and learn more about our Active Trader Setups trading package. Multiple day price advances, day trading and swing trading. 4 trade setups, 2 long and 2 short. That's all you got to learn.